Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu King's Quest 2. Ja, erinnert ihr euch noch, dass ich gesagt habe, dass dieses Spiel doch ziemlich schwierig ist? Ja, es ist ziemlich schwierig. Und erinnert euch auch, dass ich gesagt habe, vielleicht ist das Rotkäppchen, nicht Rotkäppchen, die Großtochter, Nichte, wie auch immer, dass sie erst auftaucht, wenn wir was getriggert haben, sozusagen, dass sie erst auftaucht, wenn wir bei der Großmutter gewesen sind. Das stimmt auch so in etwa, nur wir mussten noch was anderes machen. Und zwar, ich habe da mal nachgeschaut. Ich muss ganz ehrlich sagen, ich bin einfach nicht weitergekommen. So, wir können nämlich hier am Altar beten.
Feeling humbled, you kneel down to pray. You rise again after a few moments. The monk stirs, stands, and turns to face you.
So, und jetzt können wir auch mit ihm reden.
Father, I go now to a place of darkness. While I am stout of heart, the path laid down before me is unclear. I seek only the knowledge that my passage be illuminated by heavenly favor, and a prayer that I may make it through.
The monk gives you a reassuring smile and pats you on the shoulder. He then lifts a silver cross from around his neck and places it in your hands.
Thank you.
You are welcome, my child.
You can talk?
Of course.
I thought monks were forbidden from speaking.
Not all churches follow the same rules, and this church is quite unique.
Really? How so?
The monk just smiles placidly at you.
So, können wir die Kette anziehen?
You place the silver cross and chain around your neck and wear it as a necklace.
Okay. Wir reden weiter mit ihm.
About this crucifix.
I believe you will find the cross to be of immense value. It has come to us at a huge price.
It was expensive?
I mean that it has cost us more than any value to be in possession of it.
If I may ask, why is it that you only open the church at dusk?
We find the late hours more favorable.
But surely then you would not have many in your congregation.
Yes, that is true.
What do you know of the Count?
Only that he is a heathen, a blasphemer. You serve God well by going there, my child. Bless you.
The monk smiles at you, turns back to the altar, kneels, and resumes his prayers.
So, ich glaube, das war's dann.
The monk is...
Yep. Quick Save. Das war das erste, was wir machen müssen. Das zweite ist, dass wir jetzt weiter raus müssen. Und dann wird was getriggert. Zweimal.
Without warning, a pair of wolves dart out of the dark forest and dash towards you. For a minute there, you thought those wolves were going to attack. Curious as to why they didn't, you decide to follow them.
Ich glaube, das sind Werwölfe.
You see the monk standing alone outside the church. Then you notice the two wolves approaching him. You are about to yell a warning to the monk, but the words die in your throat as the man steps forward and pats the wolves' heads.
No, my brothers, we must not hurt him. Not yet. He will go to the heathen's abode. He will do what needs to be done. What if he does not? Then, my brothers, we will complete the task before us. The one we began many years ago.
You quickly move away from the church, your heart racing faster with every step. You have a good idea now what will happen once the moon comes out in full, and you do not want to be anywhere near here when it does.
Ja, das glaube ich auch.
One thing's for sure, you're not getting married in that church.
Okay, speichere mal wieder. So, und jetzt müsste eigentlich das Mädchen da sein. Oh, und Telefon. Kleiner Moment, bitte. So, da bin ich wieder. Speichern und dann hätte ich mal gesagt, ich will es einfach mal ausprobieren. Was passiert, wenn wir jetzt nochmal zurückgehen?
There's no way you're going back in there.
Alles klar, macht er nicht. Hätte auch sein können, dass wir jetzt umkommen. War aber nicht der Fall. So, jetzt gehen wir nochmal zur Großmutter vorbei. Von da habe ich mir nicht aufgeschrieben, wo Rotkäppchen zu finden ist. Rotkäppchen. Der Rotkäppchen-Verschnitt. Wölfe haben wir ja jetzt auch. Und danach weiß ich nicht weiter. Also ich habe jetzt nur bis das angeschaut, bis wir das Mädchen finden.
You'll need to...
Ja. Moment. Was hat er gesagt?
You'll need to walk...
Ja, ich muss näher ran. Aber wir waren ja eh schon drin, glaube ich.
Perhaps you should try...
Ja, genau. So, dann sollten wir nach Süden und zweimal nach Osten gehen. Und das sollten wir so finden. Ich hoffe, dass das jetzt auch stimmt, was da stand.
You hear the sound of a child sobbing nearby.
Und genau das ist es. Das hatten wir beim Anfang nicht. Wenn wir nicht in der Kirche gewesen sind, wäre das ja nicht getriggert worden.
As you approach, you recognize the child. It is Possum, the little girl you helped earlier today.
Okay. Und was ist los? Wie gesagt, hier waren wir definitiv. Und es ist erst getriggert worden nach der Kirche.
Are you all right? What happened?
I went into town to buy some chicken soup for my grandma. I always try to reach home before dark, but this eve I lost my way and was attacked.
Attacked? A wolf attacked you?
No, not by a wolf, a dwarf.
For a moment, you're not sure that you heard correctly.
A dwarf, did you say?
Uh-huh. He jumped out at me, took my food, and then ran away.
Listen, I'm going to try to find this dwarf that you say stole your food. You get back to your grandma, understand?
Possum nods, says a soft thank you, and heads back home.
Okay. Und ich wette mal, dieser Zwerg, der wird in diesem Baumhaus sein, das wir schon mal gefunden haben. Ich könnte mir das jedenfalls sehr, sehr gut vorstellen. Das ist ja auch gerade hier in der Gegend, oder? Probieren wir mal, ob es jetzt geht.
You rap on the treehouse door and wait a moment, but get no response.
Okay. Ich hätte jetzt gedacht, wir müssten hierher. Wo sollen wir sonst noch hingehen? Und es ist auf jeden Fall jemand daheim, weil der kann
How
ihn trennen.
ingenious! Evidently, this tree forms part of a...
Kann man da drauf
It
klettern?
is high, vertical, and there are no footholds. Do you still think you can climb it? Don't bother moving.
Wir könnten noch mal zur Großmutter gehen, schauen, ob es da vielleicht jetzt was Neues gibt. Also ich hätte schwören können, dass das irgendwas mit diesem Haus zu tun hat. Schauen wir mal. Aber wahrscheinlich geht hier nichts. Ah, doch.
Welcome. Come in, please. Possum told me to expect you.
Okay, jetzt können wir auf jeden Fall mal mit ihr reden.
Grandma looks too weak to talk at length. Perhaps there's a way to make her feel better.
Ja, indem wir ihr das Essen geben, aber das haben wir ja leider nicht.
The painting on the wall looks like an artist's depiction of the Kalima landscape. You wonder who painted this. It is a portrait of a young man. He looks somewhat familiar. A beautiful vase is filled with pretty flowers. The little girl is fast asleep. A humble fire flickers in the small fireplace. A worn armchair sits in a corner of the room.
Wie wäre es mit dieser Flasche da? Damit sie sich jünger fühlt?
The elderly lady is not interested in that.
Solltest du aber eigentlich sein.
It is a slightly luminescent blue. The elderly lady.
Ja, wir brauchen was zu essen.
The elderly.
Okay, das heißt, wir brauchen erst das Essen. Die Frage ist, wo kriegen wir es her? Also ich hätte tatsächlich gesagt Baumhaus, aber vielleicht wandert der auch jetzt irgendwie durch die Gassen hier rum. Oder, warte mal, war das nicht auch so beim Dings? Im ersten Teil. Bei der Hexe, wenn man einmal benutzt die Tür, um zu klopfen und nochmal benutzen, um zu aufzumachen. Das probiere ich jetzt mal aus. Ist mir gerade so gekommen, die Idee. Oh!
You watch as a little man runs out of the door, which has been built into a tree. You surmise that you have found the culprit's home. The vague aroma of chicken soup confirms it. That fiend.
Und er lässt die Tür offen. Okay, dann war es doch nicht so, wie ich gedacht habe, aber es war so, wie ich gesagt habe, dass das hier bestimmt ist. Es war mir irgendwie so klar, dass es dieses Haus ist. Hallo?
Finding the door ajar, you cautiously open it and step inside the tree.
Ich hoffe mal, der kommt nicht zurück. Hier, speichern wir lieber nochmal und dann schauen wir uns nochmal um.
A very sharp knife has been stabbed into the table. Its blade reflects the light from the burning fire. That's not a knife. The knife you found under a rock one time? Now that was a knife.
Okay.
The elaborate display cabinet sitting to one side of the room looks heavy and expensive. You begin to wonder how the tiny dwarf managed to move it all the way down here by himself without damaging it. It is locked. This contraption looks like some sort of oven. It seems to draw heat from the fire, trapping it so that raw meat may be cooked at a much higher temperature. There is a pot of chicken.
Aber da.
There is a pot of chicken soup boiling over the fire.
Wollt das nicht abbrechen. Können wir es nehmen einfach?
You grab the handle of the bubbling pot of chicken soup. You take it with you.
Okay, jetzt haben wir das auf jeden Fall.
The stocking hats of the dwarf are sitting on the table. Those hats wouldn't fit you, fortunately. A heavy-looking pot rests precariously on the edge of the shelf. You notice the shelf is located quite high up on the wall for such a small dwarf. Then you see the barrel on the table, and things start to make sense. The dwarf must climb on it whenever he needs access to the shelf. An old trunk rests in the corner of this hovel.
Schauen wir mal, was da drin ist.
Upon opening the trunk, you find a number of items that the dwarf has obviously stolen and stashed away. Among them are some gold coins. They display the distinctive face of the first king. They could only have come from the magic chest of Daventry.
Okay. Dann müssten wir eigentlich alles hier haben, oder? Ist sonst noch was drin?
An old trunk. You close the...
So, es sieht doch ganz gut aus. Und da geht's auch nicht weiter? Nee. Ich glaube, dann müssten wir eigentlich alles haben. Hoffe ich jedenfalls mal. Oder?
There's nothing on the shelf. There's nothing... The door is...
Ja, ich weiß, sie ist schon offen.
You hear the latch fall into place again as the door closes behind you.
So, dann haben wir das doch geschafft. Wieder ein Rätsel gelöst. wenn auch mehr durch wieder rumprobieren. Oder besser gesagt, Zufall. So, wie wär's mit ein bisschen Suppe?
It is a little too cold to be serving to frail old ladies.
Dann mach's mal warm.
You place the now cold chicken soup over the crackling fire once more. After it heats up to eating temperature, you remove it again.
So. Wie wär's jetzt mit warmer Hühnersuppe?
You offer the soup to Possum's grandma, introduce yourself, and wait courteously while the frail elderly lady eats the nourishing meal. When she is finished, she sets the empty bowl down elsewhere and turns her attention towards you.
So, jetzt können wir wahrscheinlich mit ihr reden.
If you would like to speak with me for a while, I would welcome your company. A person should never turn away a visitor, especially when she reaches the twilight of her life.
You can't help but feel a sense of finality in the old woman's words.
You must have something in return for your kindness. You do not need to risk your safety for an old, worn-out woman like myself. Look under the bed. You should find something to keep you a little warmer on a cold night like this.
You have a charming young granddaughter.
Grandma smiles at you graciously.
She is a treasure to me. I would do anything to ensure that no harm comes to her.
If I may inquire, what became of her parents?
Grandma frowns, and her eyes darken for a moment before she forces a melancholy smile to her face.
They were lost to us many years ago. I am afraid dear Possum never really knew her parents.
It must have been a daunting task raising the child by yourself, especially at your
At my age? I am certainly not as young as I used to be, and there is no shame in that. I have tried to raise her as best I could, to keep her safe and well. However, I fear that as of late the reverse has become truer.
You have nothing more to say to the elderly lady at the moment.
Okay, dann schauen wir mal unter dem Bett.
You peer under the bed and find a thick black cloak. Lying atop it is a beautiful ruby-encrusted ring. You pick both up with reverence.
I could not possibly take these fine things from you.
Oh please, I want you to have them. Nights in Kolima are cold, believe me. As for the ring, well, perhaps it is better that I do not have it to remind me.
As you wish.
Okay.
If you please, I was hoping you might tell me of the cloak and ring's origin.
The old woman closes her eyes as if the memory she seeks is painful to her senses.
They were my husband's. He was a proud man, the last of his line. His family had been rich, a great deal of old money you might say. They lived in that castle you might have seen to the north. Its location upon that island is evidence of how much they valued their privacy. He was a good man, my husband. He took care of me. Certainly he had his strange habits. Most men do, if you would pardon me for saying so. I suspect that he practiced magic, so I could never catch him in the act. He would frequently journey afar, taking that black cloak with him wherever he went, to places he would not talk about. He said that it represented something important to a certain group of people, and that I was never to mention it to anyone. But he was always there for me, always, until that fateful night. We had been married just over a year, and I was heavy with child. We were both out walking in the weirwood forest late one night. The air was warm, and in our youth we paid little attention to the world and its many dangers. Besides, there was a full moon. We could see clearly enough. A shadow passed over us. We looked up, thinking it might have been a stray cloud. It was not. Descending upon us like a demon was the largest, most hideous bat I had ever seen. Its fangs were bared and it dove straight for me. I must have screamed. My husband flung himself in front of me to protect me. He swung his arms about frantically in hopes of warding the horrid thing away. Perhaps he was trying to cast a spell, but could not recall how in his panic. It paid him no heed and would not be deterred. It swooped again and again relentlessly. At one point, my husband's hand must have clipped the bat's wing because it lost control and crashed into his shoulder. He tried to wrest the foul creature away, but then he shrieked suddenly. The horrid thing had bitten him. He never did recover from that incident. He just faded with each passing hour. Within 2 days of the attack, my husband had died. We buried him on his family's plantation on the island. Sometimes when I sleep, I can feel him watching over me, guarding me, protecting me. I think he is waiting for my time to come so we can be together always.
The old lady seems to be dozing off. You can barely hear her final words.
I miss him so.
Telling the story has clearly taken a great deal out of her. You watch the old woman a moment and notice her labored breathing as she sleeps. Despite the little girl's tireless daily efforts, perhaps there's nothing more to be done.
Okay, dann sind wir hier wohl fertig und ja, was für eine traurige Geschichte. Dann würde ich aber auch hier Schluss machen und beim nächsten Mal machen wir weiter. Dann schauen wir mal an, was wir da gekriegt haben und wie wir dann weitermachen können. Dann sage ich mal vielen Dank fürs Anschauen. Macht's gut. Bis zur nächsten Folge. Tschüss.